had lately. So just wanted to acknowledge and thank the organization for putting that event on. And this year in particular, you know, was especially poignant with Nate Jones and Trent Umberger and wanting to honor them for their sacrifice. And so just wanted to make a special note of that. I was also able to duck downtown for the signing ceremonies for the Moffat Tunnel and other leases with UP, and that was great, a moment of celebration. And then piggybacking on the town halls, Commissioner Stewart's and my town halls are coming up on the 21st. So looking forward to hearing some of the same information that folks get, good sources of input. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cook. Next up is Commissioner Masters.
Yes, good. Good morning. I've listened to a couple of town halls, which were very informative, just trying to get a little bit of basis for what's coming up. And I just want to say before that, I've attended a couple of meetings in regards to the 10-year plan that all these regions have been working on. And it astounds me the amount of work that goes into these plans, that the people spend countless hours trying to come up with these plans. I'm certain that in the end, they will all work out, but thanks for all that time and effort, because it's really, truly a tremendous load. The other thing I want to say is it's springtime in the Rockies. It's great. That's why everybody's here. Please be aware of those motorcycles on the road. They haven't been around for a while. They drive differently than they used to. They split lanes now. You'll look at them through your driver's side window or through your passenger side. Just pay attention to them. And with graduation coming up, I just want to say one more thing. You've heard this, you've preached it. If you're a parent, you've preached it forever. They're very simple things. Don't drink and drive. Leave early. Please obey the speed limit. Give the guys on the road, give them a passing lane. Let them do their job. The emergency vehicles, please just allow them to do their job. And buckle up. It's simple. Just buckle up. Watch your speed. And last but not least, put the phone down. All those things are lost. So I just want you to just pay attention to them. And there's so many kids on the road today, and people are traveling back and forth. It's a great place to be. Just be safe. Thank you.
Well said, Commissioner Masters. Thank you. Next up is Commissioner Gutierrez.
Thank you, Chair Hart. I appreciate the opportunity to make a few comments. I have to echo some of the comments about the town halls. I participated in ours, and it really appreciated all of the conversation that our citizens provided to us and all of the comments they provided to us. It became obvious to me that at least in our district, there are concerns about the east-west corridors, and we've done a lot of work on that on I-25, and there's a lot of north-south corridors that we've worked on, but seemed to me that a lot of comments in our town halls were those east-west corridors. But it was great, and I always want to compliment our staff. I know CDOT staff, all of you that I have any dealings with do a terrific job, but I will tell you that in Region 4, we are extremely fortunate to have a rock star as our director. And Heather, you every time we do something together, you amaze me. So I want to thank you for all the work that you do and make me look good. So thank you. And then finally, I just want to say a few words about Commissioner Stewart, if I may. I don't want to steal your thunder. If you're Commissioner Stewart has been on, and she and I went on the CTIO board about the same time. She is a member from the TC, and I as a governor's appointee. And I will tell you that she is another rock star, and we are going to deeply miss her on both CTIO and TC. Her leadership, her expertise, and she has been just a true mentor to me. So publicly, I want to say, Karen, thank you for being such a proponent for all that we've done with transportation in this state. You too are a rock star.
Thank you, Commissioner Gutierrez. Next up is Vice Chair Adams.
Good morning, everyone. Couple of comments I'd like to make, starting with some news that I think a lot of you are already aware of, but I'll share this for the general public. But I've made a decision that I'm not going to stand for reappointment to the commission after having served for 6 years. Lots of reasons why. I won't go into all of them, but I thought I'd make that comment publicly. You know, it's kind of bittersweet. First of all, I'd like to really thank the incredibly talented CDOT group of colleagues and cohorts. You know, and I've worked with a lot of different people over my entire career, but very infrequently have I had a chance to work with such a strong, dedicated group of professionals like you have within CDOT. And I think the state of Colorado is actually very fortunate, and most people don't even fully appreciate the kind of talent, the kind of expertise that we bring to the table in resolving a broad host of different problems, sort of a variety of which you don't encounter in most business experiences, because very few things are as complex as running a state Department of Transportation and wrestling with all the things that you have to wrestle with. So I greatly have appreciated my colleagues at CDOT, the staff at CTIO, and they've been in their own smaller way, but very talented, very skillful, and the things that they do every single day to make affordable, responsible, safe transportation for all of us in the state of Colorado. You know, they probably will go unheralded for what they do, but having sat through a lot of the sessions, I can tell you that they do a great deal for us. So I've appreciated their patience with this old accountant who doesn't bring a lot of transportation knowledge, but during the course of the 6 years, I've learned a lot. So I just want to thank all of you for all that support. And the very last thing I want to say is I just want to echo the comments about safety and remind everyone that, you know, safety is all of our responsibility. You know, I appreciate Commissioner Masters' comments about how we have to look out for one another on the road, you know, the bikers, the other drivers, the pedestrians, you know, the scooter riders, whatever the case may be. But we have a responsibility to each other for safety and making sure that our roads are as safe for all of us as possible. So thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Adams. And I've just got a few things to say. And I'll go ahead and start with the folks that will be leaving the Transportation Commission. Hopefully we have some more opportunities at the tail end of this meeting, as well as next month to the degree we can. But we know that we're going to be losing Vice Chair Adams, we're going to be losing Commissioner Stewart, and we're going to be losing Commissioner Garcia. And I have to tell you, these three individuals I've had the pleasure with working with in the last close to 4 years that I've been here. And every single one of them have been so dedicated, so professional, and so helpful towards moving the work that we're trying to do forward. And it's been my absolute pleasure serving with all three of you. And I wish you all well. I hope to see you again in June, and we'll talk again then. But it's always sad to see the turnover of such wonderful experience. So I wanted to say that. I've thoroughly enjoyed the passenger rail conversations that we've had over the last couple of days. And we brought it up again in the breakfast meeting today. And I thought, well, we will have a couple of things to say and then we'll wander down. No, this is a fascinating conversation, and it definitely triggers everybody needing to say what they need to say on it. It's definitely a pretty exciting project. Like we said yesterday, my hat's off to the folks who have been putting a lot of work into it. It is an incredibly complex process, and we all are pretty excited about where it's headed. We from Southern Colorado always make a little pitch for don't forget about us. And one thing that I've had fun doing is ever since I was on the Front Range Passenger Rail Commission is to say that kind of thing constantly. So we will continue saying that to make sure, but we're going to do our best to support the entire process. I'm going to do my best to support the entire process, particularly the area that has the current finances and the political will. That's exactly what we need to do in order to get this project going. So very exciting, good presentations. Two quick items that I wanted to report on projects in my district. We recently celebrated the paving operation of I-25 from all the way from the south end of City of Pueblo to the north end of City of Pueblo. They did a spectacular job with a minimum of interference with traffic. That highway is smoother than I think I can remember it, or my car's shock absorbers can remember for quite some time. They did wonderful work on it. That's pretty exciting. And then the other major project that we've started, a very big project for our community, of the new interchange that's being built at Highway 50B and I-25. Like I reported last time, it's fascinating to watch those bridge supports be built. They're out scraping dirt, and then 2 days later, I drive back and there's a whole series of bridge supports already being built. So a lot of good work going on. Final comment, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the town hall meetings. I found it also particularly fascinating. A lot of good interaction with the public. I liked it. I've done several things like that in my career, but I have to admit, the complexity of what we were doing and the way we were doing it, I left pretty much shaking. It was a fairly hectic process. I was extremely glad that my RTD, Shane Ferguson, was there, because when a question would come in, I was scrambling looking for the answer. And my typical answer was, "Hey, Shane, how about you handling that?" So, and Shane did a spectacular job with it. So one thing that just a note that Shane and I had talked about, and I've talked to others, I'm hoping that we have a little bit of a debriefing process as we go into the future, talking about how we do the town hall meetings and some of the suggestions of those of us who have participated in them recently on how we might be able to improve that process and not scare our transportation commissioners too much in the process. So, all right, thank you. That's all the comments that I have this morning. So we'll go ahead and go to the next item on the agenda, which is a report from our acting executive director, Sally Chafee. Sally.
Thank you. When I started to put together what I wanted to talk about today, I had a really long list and I kept thinking, oh, that happened months ago. And no, it didn't. It happened weeks ago. So we have been very, very busy this spring. And to piggyback on what Commissioner Cook talked about, we did host 5 different regional Remembrance Days where we, all the regions took time to really hold these gatherings together and remember the folks that have lost their lives in the service of Colorado. We also hosted a rather large one this year here at headquarters. As Commissioner Cook mentioned, both families of Trent and Nate joined us, and it was really moving to not only see how they've built their own community, but also how many of our staff have embraced them as family as well. I was talking to several of the Region 3 staff who now go to different games and functions of the children of those of Trent that was lost. And so it just, it's unfortunate we even have to have these events. As both Commissioner Masters and Adams said, just the safety and that sometimes our folks put themselves really in harm's way to better all of our lives. So just to keep that in mind, but also keep our Region 3 team in mind. They also lost coworkers and friends, and that's, even though Remembrance Day is over, they still probably think about it every day. So just want you all to know that you are still in our thoughts, as are the families. And Emily, thank you so much for weathering this session. I don't need to go into details, but I'll tell you, especially in the last few days of session, she really made sure that some shenanigans did not move forward and really helped protect the equities of CDOT. So it was a long, I feel like, even though it was 120 days session, but we really, even with the budget cuts and just some of the things that were kind of tossed our way, I think did really well. And that's really a testament to Emily and her leadership down there and the relationships she's been able to build. As also has been mentioned, rail, of course, the conversations that we had yesterday were great. We had the event at the Governor's Mansion on Monday, May 5th, where the president of Union Pacific and the governor signed the Moffett Lease Tunnel, which also provided the groundwork for us to start with gusto, the Mountain Rail project. If anyone needs to learn more about it, there was a great article in the Denver Post this past weekend that did a really nice job talking about all the different passenger rail efforts that are going on. In Region 1, we were able to, with the help of our friends at the FHWA Division Office, finalize our Floyd Hill Phase 4 grant. And so that package closed and that work is starting. So that is the final phase and a large one of Floyd Hill. So it's great to see that we were able to come to an agreement with our FHWA partners to get that project finished. So nice work to our Region 1 team and our, thank you to John Cater and his team for making that happen. In addition, we had Congressman Hurd come out to the EJMT and do a tour. He spent 2 hours plus with us, and it was just a really great conversation with him. Our team, Paul Fox, did a really nice job showing him around this critical asset, and the congressman had great questions just about Colorado's funding situation in general and our road network. Since he is serving on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee in Congress, it's really great to have that resource to represent Colorado. And another appreciation, each year the governor's office hosts a lunch to honor staff from each agency during Public Servant Appreciation Week. And each agency nominates one person to receive that award. Last year was Herman. But this year we did nominate John David Sage. As many of you know him, our Region 3 Section 2 Maintenance Superintendent. He started at CDOT in 1989 as a snowplow driver and has been with us for 35 years. And he is just has such a vast knowledge of roadway maintenance and CDOT history, and is a real quiet but strong leader that really values and protects his workers, but also makes sure that the job gets done. So we were really honored to be able to do that. And he's one of those, like many of our CDOT team, who do not expect recognition, but definitely deserve it. So that was nice to be able to do. And he got his picture made with Herman. I was out of town, and the governor and the lieutenant governor. So it was fun to be able to do that for him. And then to end with, as everyone else has, just with a personal and also on behalf of CDOT appreciation to Commissioner Stewart, Commissioner Adams, and of course, Commissioner Garcia. Their service and commitment to Colorado has just been amazing. And, I think a little bit because, and Commissioner Adams may not remember this, but he and I started at CDOT about the same time. And I think about how much has changed even in that 6 years. And you all have provided such wise counsel and asked us hard questions that made us think about what we were doing. And that's such a value add. And you will be missed. So thank you very much. And same to Commissioner Stewart. I always really appreciate her direct and honest feedback. And because I always know at the end of the day, it's because she wants to make sure we're doing the right thing for Colorado. So you will both be very missed, and as well Commissioner Garcia, and glad that we're going to get you for one more meeting, but thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the Chief Engineer's Report. Keith Stefanik. Keith?
All right. Good morning, Commissioners. Just a couple things I wanted to mention. I think the agenda that I have is celebrating milestones that has occurred over the past month. The first one, my team through San Lee, our state traffic engineer, has worked extensively on the Colorado Strategic Highway Safety Plan update, so the 2025 version. This is a federally approved document that needs to be done at a maximum every 5 years. So SAN staff, along with all the regional staff, met across the state over the past, I'd say 6 months, went through a lot of topics with external stakeholders to make sure that we had a good safety pledge across the state, and incorporate a lot of ideas and thoughts into that. So that document has been assembled. It's with Sally right now for a final review, and then that'll go out to our partners. And our partners on that strategic plan is, so it's CDOT, CSP, DOR, Department of Revenue, and then CDPHE, the Public Health Department. So it's a pretty good pledge across the state of state agencies to work together to incorporate that strategic highway safety plan. So we're seeing our numbers drop, which is a good thing. We're not quite there yet, but numbers going down is always a good thing and not going up. So really wanted to say thanks to SAM staff for working some long hours to get that document to the point where it's at. And we hope to get that approved here by all of our partners and then also ultimately the federal FHWA. So great accomplishment over the past several months. The second one still stays with our state traffic engineer, the automated speed enforcement program. So we came, I believe it was February, and had a TC workshop on what our vision for our automated speed enforcement program is this year and going into the future. So we were finally able to execute a contract with our vendor Blissway and also a task order with our vendor Blissway to move that program forward. So the past 3 days up on the third floor, our team's been meeting with the Blissway team, working on several items, working on some rules to get out there. And we hope to have the equipment out on in June of this year on State Highway 119 up in Region 4 for our first pilot program in our construction project. So we really look forward to getting that out. It'll start with a burn-in period that we call it, a pilot period, to make sure our stuff's running correctly. We'll start with some violations or start with some warnings and then move into the violation period. But that probably won't be until September when the violations start coming out. So again, the program is not meant to generate revenue, but more get the speeds down, increase the safety across our roadway network. Third milestone is Patrick Holinda spoke to you guys yesterday about it, but the BTE 2025 bond transaction. There was a lot of work on the part of Patrick and his team and Jeff Sudemeyer, our CFO, to get that to the place where it is. And it's really, very key for our capital program to have that bond transaction in place, enable for us to fund our program moving forward. So thanks to Patrick and his team and Jeff and his team to get that to the place where it's at. Sally mentioned another big milestone. So Region 1 under Jessica Mickelbust, the Floyd Hill team got to award the contract for construction package 4. So Sally touched base on the grant agreement that helped us get to that spot, but it's a tremendous effort to get through 4 construction packages, get those all agreed, and get that project moving. It's a lot of work from Kirk Kianka, the project director up there, and his team to sit with Kramer, our partner on that project, and get that moving and get that in the right direction. And I think for everyone that travels the I-70 corridor, that project's been under construction for, I think, about two construction seasons, and we've had some minimal impacts. We have some closures and stuff for the rock blasting, but everything's been going pretty well. It's been safe, and the traffic keeps moving. So very proud of that team and the work that they've done to accomplish that major project. And then the last thing I had is just a real quick snapshot of our capital program for 2025. We continue to work on our metrics. We continue to work on our data behind our program. And right now, as we snap a line 5 months into our program, we're hitting about 94% of what we thought we would hit on contractor payments. So that just shows that our team is getting better planning the work. Our contractors are getting better performing the work. So it's a great accomplishment when we can plan and hit about 94% of what we thought we would do 5 months into this calendar year. So great job from all of the regions delivering those programs. A great side to our planning process on trying to estimate how much work we're going to have out on the street. So with that, that's the milestones I wanted to celebrate this month, but happy to answer any questions from the commission.
Thank you, Keith. Any questions? I think we're good. Thank you, Keith. Next on the agenda is the CTI Director's Report, Piper Darlington.
Good morning, Commissioners. We held obviously the joint workshop was the big news yesterday, but we also held a CTIO only board meeting prior to those joint workshops. And I wanted to highlight one presentation that we had from Sky Folks. He's the president and CEO of the Winter Park Resort. He came in person to, personally report out on our partnership, the CTIO partnership between Winter Park and Amtrak this year to expand ski train service. I've kind of periodically reported out to commissioners on the results that we were seeing of that effort, but just to remind everybody, we went into this partnership really trying to promote ridership, right? To help pave the way for expanded service through Mountain Rail, get people excited about rail in general. We were able to expand service to 5 days a week, so Thursday through Monday. We were focused on reducing ticket price, right, as really a mechanism to get more people on the train. And we were able to also focus on offering a stop in Fraser. So traditionally it just stopped at Winter Park and then the trains idled in Fraser, but people weren't able to get off there. So Sky came and gave sort of a report out now that the season has closed. Capacity was up almost 160%. We were able to increase the amount of seats available to a little over 55,000 seats. Ridership increased by 153% to almost 44,000 riders for the season. And our percentage of seats filled was almost 80%. Obviously, there were some days that were in the 90s and some days that were more in the 50s, but on average, we were seeing an 80% of those seats were filled for the season. And we were able to reduce the ticket price by almost 50%. And I thought something that was really interesting that he highlighted that I hadn't thought about before, but adding the Fraser stop, they saw almost 2,500 people disembarking in Fraser. So he pointed out that a lot of people actually started using this for transit. People who lived in Fraser who needed to travel to the Denver metro area, or also visitors that wanted to, apparently there's some tubing spots in Fraser. So he said that they really noticed a lot of people actually utilizing that Fraser stop. So really appreciate Sky coming in person to brief our board and thank them for the partnership and sort of financial sponsorship using some of our new congestion impact fee. And we are obviously actively talking about how we can continue this partnership for the next season. So those talks are ongoing, but I'll continue to update commissioners as we try to solidify a plan to keep the momentum going from the successful partnership that we saw. And then the other item I wanted to make commissioners aware of is CTIO has rolled out a new text message alert for the I-70 Mountain Express lanes. So some of you are probably aware of the Floyd Hill text message alert system that's out there. It's also active on Vail Pass, so you can text to get updates when rock blasting is occurring. So we are really kind of piggybacking on the success of these text message alerts. People can sign up for an alert to know when the Mountain Express lane is open. If it has to close for an emergency, we'll send out alerts. And these really pair, you're not inundated with separate text for each of these services. It packages in the same message. So if anybody is interested, you can text Express Lanes with an X to 21000 to get updates on the Mountain Express lane. And we have had a soft launch and we've already had 500 people sign up, but we're working with the communications team to really get the word out there. I was at the I-70 Collaborative Effort meeting last week, and we have provided a lot of information to our project partners, stakeholders, communities along the corridor on this new service, really to try to better communicate when the express lanes are open. So wanted to make commissioners aware that we just launched that, and sign up if you're interested in getting texts. Those are my updates, but happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you, Piper. Any questions? Commissioner Cook?
Yeah, I've told the commissioners earlier at breakfast about this, but just so happens that on Sunday, the same day that Acting Director Sally Chapey, mentioned the Denver Post article appeared, I met some folks in Old Town Arvada from Fraser who were looking forward to taking Mountain Rail to get to Arvada. So, we described how they do it. They go downtown and then switch onto the G line and get back out. So easy as pie.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you,
Piper.
Chair Hart.
We bet. Next item is interestingly, the final legislative update from Emily Hadaway. And I think Emily appreciates that first word more than any of the rest of us, so.
Perfect. And I do have some slides. I think Jamie's bringing those up. But yes, last week we concluded legislative session. So thank you everyone for all of your hard work for these these past 3 months. It's definitely been an interesting session for us. A lot of lessons learned, and we'll come back next year and see what happens again with CDOT's budget. But I'll just start by going through our transportation funding bills, which I think everyone is mostly aware of, but just I think it helps to have it on the screen here just to summarize the impacts. So we can go to next slide, Jamie. So the first one is the modification of general fund transfers. This includes reducing our $100 million transfer that was created in SB 21-260 by $69 million in FY26 and $49.5 million in FY27. Those transfers are increased in future years to satisfy the intent of SB 21-260. The bill also eliminated the $7 million annual general fund transfer to the Revitalizing Main Streets program. So those are all pretty significant reductions, which we of course tracked very closely throughout the session, and we'll see kind of where we end up next year. We did hear on the floor that JBC members pretty blatantly said that they intend to keep us whole, and they want to satisfy the promise that was made in SB 21-260, and they did say that on the floor. So hopefully this isn't something that we see time and time again, that they come back and push that out into future years, but we are hearing that next year will be another tricky budget year. So these reductions will primarily impact funding for the 10-year plan, and then also that is our sole funding source for the Revitalizing Main Street program. So no future awards will be made until after we expend the remaining balance of that fund. Next slide. The second JBC bill is the temporary reduction of the road safety surcharge. That is a $3.70 reduction across all weight classes for 24 months. That will begin on September 1st of this year, so go from September to September. And that bill also includes kind of a reorganization of the distribution of that funding so that locals do not absorb the bulk of that impact. So CDOT really is absorbing the bulk of that, that reduction. So that results in a $44 million reduction over 2 years. And that will ultimately impact safety-related projects and under the faster safety and asset management programs. Next slide. SB 25-264, this was a bigger kind of omnibus bill that impacted a lot of different departments, but it did include, oh, no worries. That bill did include the $71 million sweep of the Multimodal Options Fund. Of course, that is not the full balance of the Multimodal Options Fund. There still is a significant amount of funding in that cash fund, but we did hear from JBC members that we almost got it up. No worries. Let's see, one more slide. There we go. So yeah, we did hear from JBC members that cash balance was particularly of interest to them because it was a higher cash balance than a lot of our other cash funds. So they swept that portion of it's hard to say obligated or unobligated projects. It's a lot more complicated than that, but they swept a portion of that funding and transferred that to the general fund. Next slide. And then one of the bills that came about late in session was SB 25-320, that is commercial motor vehicle transportation. That bill accelerates the diesel fee that was created in SB 21-260. So that bill is, or that fee is supposed to increase by 1 cent per gallon every year until I think FY29. So what this does is accelerates that fee schedule so that that's brought forward and some additional revenue is brought in the coming years. So the total amount of additional revenue we would see through that is 28 million. So it's 14 million in FY26, 7 million in FY27, and 7 million in FY28. So that was one that was exciting to see come through in that final push of session. It doesn't ultimately keep us whole from those other cuts that we've seen, but it does at least take a step in the right direction, especially around that faster safety cut that we saw. That was kind of a unexpected cut. We were hoping that the JBC would not adopt that cut. And so that was 44 million. This is 28, and hopefully that will help offset some of the impacts that we'll see from that reduction. Next slide. So that summarizes the transportation funding bills. These are the other bills that we saw out of the legislature this year. One that is getting signed later today is the tire chain traction control device permit. That will task CDOT with rulemaking to create a new permit program that we would issue to private businesses that would want to essentially set up in our right-of-way and provide installation assistance for CMVs or passenger vehicles to comply with passenger traction law and CMV chain law. The bill also includes a few other requirements. One is an update to passenger traction law around four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive vehicles. So currently under passenger traction law, if you have a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive vehicle, you just have a tread depth requirement on your tires, like 3/16 of an inch. There's no requirement to have all-weather rated tires. This requires four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive vehicles to also have all-weather rated tires because what we've heard from professionals in the space is that even if you have four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive vehicles, if you have summer tires, it doesn't really do much to keep you safe on the road. There also is a requirement in that bill that requires rental car companies to disclose chain law requirements to people that rent vehicles. So there's a few different pieces of that bill, and that will get signed later today. Next slide. Commercial vehicle muffler requirements will also get signed later today. This one doesn't have many implications for CDOT, but it does require that state agencies include language in construction contracts stating that a contractor or subcontractor's commercial vehicle that enters a public site is required to comply with the new commercial vehicle muffler requirements created in the bill. So the state auditor will update their contract templates to reference these new muffler requirements. And then if we ever use templates that aren't created by the state auditor, we'll also have to update those construction templates as well. Next slide. SB 2530, increased transportation mode choice, reduce emissions, requires coordination with CDOT and local governments to create a inventory of active transportation projects and transit projects to identify gaps in transit bike ped infrastructure. There also was an amendment that we worked on towards the end of session that basically is related to the Moffett Tunnel, which I know we all heard about a lot yesterday. So the Moffett Tunnel is kind of a weird thing in statute because it's under DOLA's statute, and that was kind of just a de facto thing that happened after the Moffett Tunnel Improvement District was eliminated in the 90s. The Moffett Tunnel deferred to be under DOLA's oversight. So this basically just strikes DOLA and puts CDOT so that we have oversight of a transportation asset as we do with all other transportation assets. So that was a good clarifying change. And that bill this says awaiting governor's signature, but it was actually signed on Tuesday. So that one is in law now. Next slide. Transit reform. This bill had a lot of different changes at the end there, but ended up in a good spot. That was also signed 2 days ago, and it updates operations for the RTD district or for the Regional Transportation District and creates a new accountability committee. It also requires that the Transportation Commission and CDOT publish best practices for creating regional transportation authorities. So that's something we're starting to look towards to figure out what the best process for getting that done. But everything within that bill is mostly absorbable, but we might need to hire a consultant to work on those materials. Next slide. SB 25-1292, this is the transmission lines and state highway rights-of-way bill. This bill we talked about a lot throughout session. It kind of codifies the process that we worked through on I-76 and makes it explicitly clear that these high voltage transmission lines are allowed in CDOT right-of-way under certain conditions. It does give explicit authority that we can deny a permit if a project impedes on the safety or operations of the highway. It also has a provision that updates the statute that governs waiver evaluations. So right now, when we are basically doing acquisitions for projects, acquisitions over a certain amount require a formal appraisal. Under a certain amount, you can conduct a waiver evaluation, which is a much cheaper and less time-consuming process, but also ultimately produces a similar result as a formal appraisal. So our statute limited, it basically had the old limitations of what that threshold is and was not compliant with the new federal laws that now we can conduct. I'm trying to remember the numbers. I believe it's up to $30,000. Now we can conduct waiver evaluations. So that's also included in that bill, which I think is a good thing for CDOT and will also lead to some time and funding savings. And so that will ultimately result in a rulemaking and will require one FTE to process new permits to basically implement the bill. Next slide. HB 25-1228 is best value design build projects or design build transportation contracts. This creates some changes to the definition of best value for design build projects. Of course, the majority of our projects are not design build, but we will have to comply with these new standards when evaluating projects and contracts. So that's one that will create a minimal workload. We will have to implement these requirements whenever we're utilizing design build. That has not been signed yet, but should be signed in the coming weeks. Next slide. HB 25-1313, modify laws within purview of Capital Development Committee. This one it has a bunch of different changes to the Capital Development Committee statute, but it does remove the requirement that CDOT must submit a proposal every year to the Capital Development Committee. This is a pretty time-consuming process that we participate in every year, and most of the time we are not awarded funding through the Capital Development Committee just because they have such competing priorities for all different agencies seeking funding for capital development projects. So we still will have the option to apply for funding through this committee in future years, but we are no longer required to submit every year, which we were the only agency that was required to do that. So that's been removed. So that's also something that I think is a good move for the team. Next slide. And then the final bill that I have on here is automated driving commercial motor vehicle. This is one that we did not support during session. We were in opposition as well as CSP and DOR due to difficulty implementing the bill, but also concerns about preventing technological development and also just kind of getting a little ahead of our skis when we haven't really seen these projects seeking approval through our automated vehicle task force. And so we were in opposition to that bill. We also, of course, have concerns of how that will impact our autonomous attenuator trucks, which have provided great safety benefits for the regions that have been utilizing them. So the governor is currently reviewing the bill, but we were in opposition to that. So that's the one out of this list that I'd say is the most in the air about its path forward. Next slide. And then lastly, this is a list of the memorial highways and bridges that were passed. I will come back in future months to request a formal adoption of these resolutions. Officer Evan Dunn Memorial Highway in Region 1 on State Highway 58. The Daniel T. Griffin Bridge in Region 2 on the North Academy Bridge across I-25. The Troy Jackson Memorial Highway in Region 1, which is on I-25. The Hugh McKean Memorial Highway in Region 4 on State Highway 402. And the Lou Gator, the third Memorial Highway in Region 4 on State Highway 1. So those are, that's the list of memorial highways that we've seen. And I think that concludes my presentation. But happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Emily. Vice Chair Adams?
Emily, can you just go back to the one before the last slide, the one about the automated vehicles?
Yep.
What does that, once it's signed, what does that allow people to do in our state that they can't do today? I mean, does it allow like the taxis, for example, or other things? What will it
Yeah.
enable people to do?
So it's only pertains to commercial motor vehicles, so it doesn't change anything in relation to regular passenger vehicles that may have autonomous capabilities, but it does require a autonomous vehicle that is also a commercial vehicle or commercial motor vehicle at a certain weight limit to have a driver in the cab. And so currently, if a autonomous vehicle wants to operate in Colorado and cannot meet every single state law, they must go through a task force that was created in 2017 that includes CDOT, DOR, and CSP, and then we review those applications. And we've seen, I believe, about 5 applications in the past few years, and I think 2 of those were CDOT ourselves for our autonomous motor vehicles. So we really haven't seen anyone wanting to enter Colorado right now and operate commercial motor vehicles autonomously. And so this bill has been run in several other states. I think California has vetoed it twice and might veto it a third time. Texas had to veto it. So there's basically some concerns about stifling innovation before we've been able to even have these conversations, especially when I definitely understand the concerns that a lot of the legislators had of, how will this operate on I-70? How will they comply with chain law? And what if they are transporting hazardous materials? But ultimately, if they're not able to comply with those laws on the books, they'll have to go through our task force. And I don't think we would approve anything that would have safety implications for Coloradans.
I asked is that I had a long conversation with someone once, and I came to Kay Kelly did a great job of explaining to me the levels that someone had to hit in order for it to be completely autonomous. In other words, someone in the passenger seat, whether you didn't have someone in the passenger seat. So nothing changes about some of those levels that were previously explained when the governor signs this. In other words, I'm not going to see someone coming down the street with no one in the passenger seat at all. Is that correct? Or?
And no, it shouldn't change anything for those the passenger vehicles. I'm happy to set up a meeting in regards to those different levels, because I'm not the most versed in those either, and which ones are implicated by this. But also I will say it's still kind of up in the air if the governor will sign it or not. So we're still waiting, kind of hear back on his review too.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, questions for Emily? Mr. Ritter?
Yeah, do you expect any of these bills to be vetoed by the governor?
I don't want to opine too much on which ones will and won't be. I'd say this is the one that of this list that we did take a formal opposition stance in. All the other ones we worked on to either get amendments to be neutral on, or we actively supported. So this is one we did take an opposition stance, and so sometimes that indicates where the governor will go on this, but I also, can't speak exactly where he'll end up going. Yeah.
All right, other questions, comments? That's it. Emily, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great work. All right, next item on the agenda is a stack report from Gary Beatty.
This is Holly Williams. Actually, I'm the stack
Okay.
vice chair. Gary is taking a vacation.
Oh,
So-
okay, well, go ahead.
Yes. I am with the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments. Emily covered most of the stuff that we had spoken about at our meeting, so I'll just give a short update. The statewide transportation improvement program adoption, there were no major public comments received. Let's see, the Coalition for Cyclists requested that the state transportation improvement plan show coordination, better coordination between the state plans. And there is a new STIP software similar to the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments, and it should provide more linkages and consistency. The stack action was we approved the STIP to present to the Transportation Commission. And then the other item that has not been yet covered by Emily, so Emily covered most of our stuff. And the Policy Directive 1905 Risk and Resilience Program update, that was also approved by the STAC. Under other business, the Pueblo Area Council of Governments is seeking an update on the carbon reduction program formula funds. I do not know if that's happened in the past 2 weeks. And that is my report for STAC. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Is there any other questions? Hearing none, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That takes us on to the next item, which is to act on the consent agenda. We have several items on the consent agenda this morning. First item is proposed resolution number 1 to approve the regular meeting minutes of April 16, 2025. The second is proposed resolution number 2, IGA approval over $750,000. Next item is a proposed resolution number 3, devolution of State Highway 291 to the town of Salida. Next item is proposed resolution number 4, disposal parcels RW21EX US 50 Howard in Fremont County. Proposed resolution number 5, update policy directive 1606, maintaining linear referencing system. And the final item is proposed resolution number 6, update policy directive 1905, building resilience into transportation infrastructure and operations. Would any of the commissioners like to remove any of these items from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Let's go to the next item, which is discuss and act on proposed resolution number 7, adoption of the FY 2025-2029 STIP. Jamie? Oh, there she is.
Good morning. I just wanted to give you a brief summary of the comments that we did receive. If I can get my phone to work here. We did receive 3 comments from 3 different organizations. All of them basically supported the STIP and the CDOT's efforts in multimodal planning and so on and so forth. Other comments that we received were from the MPOs. They were more technical and asking us to clarify some funding issues that they had with their projects from the TIPs matching the STIP. All of those have been resolved. Finally, I got some comments from FTA and FHWA, and I do want to give them a shout out for keeping it real with me because they do like to point out my inconsistencies and my typos. All of those have been addressed and corrected, and the STIP is now ready for adoption. And thank you, Holly Williams, for giving us the stack support for the STIP as well. So at this time, I ask you to adopt the STIP, or if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
All right, any questions, comments with regard to resolution number 7? Hearing none, entertain a motion. Okay, it's been moved to approve the STIP. Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Thank you for the great work. Next item is discuss and act on proposed resolution number 8, the 8th budget supplement for FY 24-25. Jeff Sudemeyer.
Good morning. There is one request in this month's budget supplement, which is a request from Region 2 to reallocate approximately 9.6 million in savings from 10-year plan projects. So these are savings from projects in the current 4-year window of the 10-year plan that have closed and have had remaining balances. They are proposing to reallocate that 9.6 million by putting 3.5 million to the Colorado 12 shoulder widening project, 800,000 to the Colorado 96 and State Highway 71 intersection improvements project, and 5.3 million to the US 24 East widening project. Each of these 3 projects are projects currently planned in the 27+ period of the 10-year plan. So by allocating these savings now, we're essentially going to be able to accelerate those projects, get going on them now, and it will reduce the funding need in that future period that we're currently in the process of conducting planning for. There is a memo from Region 2 that goes into a lot more detail in your packet. Happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'd request you consider a motion to approve.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Is there any questions or comments for Jeff? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the 8th resolution number 8, 8th budget supplement. Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Jeff. All right, that takes us to the next item, which is recognition of the 2024 Environmental Awards. Troy.
Eric, can you try to track down Troy? Okay, thanks.
We're gonna wait. Oh, we're early. Oh, okay.
Near your turn.
By 10:25. Oh, okay. Well, I hesitate diving into the next agenda, so, oh, good, okay. That's go, we're cruising through here, Troy, so go ahead.
Can you real quick, can you also make sure your head thing is on green?
There we go.
Yeah, there you go, thanks.
There we go. Okay, well, this is exciting every year to do this. Our environmental awards, this is for the year 2024. The purpose of the awards is to help foster an environmental ethic through recognition of transportation projects, innovation, maintenance activities, and staff that exemplify CDOT's commitment to environmental excellence. We had 12 excellent nominations submitted this year for the 4 award categories. And we compiled a selection panel, and that consisted of environmental specialists from headquarters and 2 regions. Next slide, please. Here are the 4 award categories: innovative environmental process, environmental support by maintenance, special environmental contributor, and best environmental project. The first award in the innovative environmental process goes to using a climate-informed science approach to fight nature's inflation on highway assets, which is an awesome title that probably should win just on the title. So this is a Region 4 hydraulic residency staff. They utilized a framework developed by other states, federal, and corporate partners to use the CMIP6 climate data set to predict future rainfall increases and their impacts to CDOT's major assets. Let's see. This part of this approach is to analyze hydraulic design criteria that will allow CDOT to plan and budget for more severe and impactful storms out to calendar year 2100. It will also inform the prioritization process of bridge and culvert asset management, resiliency program objectives, and region projects so that new bridges and culverts today are prepared for floods and debris slides of the future. It gives CDOT a strong advantage in preparing for new design standards anticipated to be mandated in the next 2 or 3 years. This very innovative and flexible use of existing data in this context will be a huge benefit to CDOT. Projection planning for increased rainfall and therefore increased risk is a proactive approach to the very real threat to CDOT infrastructure. Designing infrastructure today for hydraulic conditions tomorrow is a wise investment. The prioritization aspect of this will help CDOT allocate the limited funding we have in order to tackle the largest risks first. And this innovation will really help focus the very important areas of sustainability and resiliency. And here is Brian Barella, Region 4. Brian, congratulations.
Good morning, commissioners. Madam RTD Paddock, thank you for helping us find our way to this opportunity. I always tell my team, innovation somewhere usually exists at the crossroads of opportunity and need, and we had both here. So I'm grateful that the Water Conservation Board was able to partner with us, FEMA Region 8, Michael Baker. We took something brilliant that they boiled down to something simple and made it effective for asset management. I especially want to recognize our team. Kendall Hewins, Corey Nanica, if you could stand please and be recognized. This team of superstars took an idea and turned it into an innovation and turned it into a true opportunity for CDOT. So I am exceedingly proud of everything they've accomplished, and we're grateful to be here today to receive this. Thank you.
Our next category is maintenance. The de-icer leak spill catcher containment preventing environmental hazards is the winner this year. This containment loading area was designed and implemented at the Pueblo Monarch Maintenance Facility. It was designed to help catch and contain de-icing material, magnesium chloride, when snow plows would fill up or offload. The mag chloride is not considered a pollutant when used on the roads because the water and snow and ice dilute it. However, it is a pollutant when it's still in concentrated form. Often small amounts of the concentrated de-icer would leak out when coupling or uncoupling the hoses to the snow plows. This new spill containment structure helps keep the de-icer material contained in one area. It has helped the facility stay in compliance with our pollution prevention program as part of CDOT's MS4 permit, as well as reduce waste. An additional benefit to this design is that the curb, parking blocks, and delineation markers help trucks safely back into the loading area without backing into any obstructions. This really assists in preventing potential backing accidents. This very thoughtful design and solution works perfectly and ensures no damage to the trucks or the secondary containment area for the mag tanks. It is a brilliant solution to prevent mag chloride from becoming a pollutant that leaves the maintenance yards. This relatively simple idea and solution is very effective and not only the pollution containment, but also the reuse of materials as well as having safety in mind. The solution is very flexible and can be applied statewide. And then here from Region 2's maintenance team accepting the award, Matt Morgan, Steve Medina. Congratulations. Want to say anything? Okay, you don't have to, you don't have to.
I mean, you kind of covered all of it.
Okay,
so-
perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. And then the next award is Special Environmental Contributor. Next award is Special Environmental Contributor. Well, am I echoing? Okay, so Barbara is here via Zoom, if that's, okay, fantastic. So this award goes to Barbara Stockland Steely. She's been the senior historian for CDOT Region 1 for over 8 years. During her time in this position, she has done an amazing amount of dedicated work for the region. Barbara, can you mute and tell? Okay. Barbara, can you mute and tell? Okay, perfect. Testing. Okay. I don't like hearing myself speak. During her time in this position, she has done amazing things for the region, for CDOT as a whole, for our communities, and for the field of historic compliance and preservation. Her contribution cannot be overstated. She was able to grow the program and its capacity to meet the region's needs by hiring a second full-time historian and then multiple interns through the years. As a mitigation effort, for example, she has commissioned and led several far-reaching research studies. One of these is the streetcar study. This is the first comprehensive study of all the streetcar systems throughout Colorado, which there were 13 communities that had streetcars. She developed resources for history consultants, including a guide to all deliverables that we need here at CDOT, and worked with headquarters to develop CDOT's first official interactive online training in cultural resources. Also, due to her superior knowledge of the historic process, she took on the task of documenting the history of Burnham Yard shops and spent endless time with CDOT management explaining the process to complete a significance evaluation. Barbara personally prepared a 65-page historic resources tech report. More than all of that, she contributed to the positive culture of Region 1. She is known throughout the region and highly respected by everyone. She retired from CDOT in February, hence her not being here today. Her dedication to the region, project delivery, and historic compliance is unrivaled. Her work and the incredible person that she is will be missed. And then Barbara should be here on Zoom. And you can unmute now.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
We can. Okay, good. My video isn't working, so sorry for the technical issues, and I'm sorry I can't be there in person. I did work for CDOT for 8 years, and I just really, it's an honor and privilege to be recognized, and it was an honor and privilege to work for CDOT, to be on the Region 1 environmental team, which was just such a great team to work with. And you mentioned some of the studies I worked on, but really what I remember the most and really miss is working on transportation projects with my teammates, problem solving, trying to figure out how do we do things like build a trail on top of an 1870s rail grade and things like that, and then seeing things come to fruition and working together to make those things happen in a way that advances transportation, but is also environmentally sensitive. So I'm just so grateful to have had the experience to work at CDOT, and just really appreciate the support that I had while I was there. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Barbara, and we'll get your certificate to you. Okay. Finally, the project award, and this is for a Region 2 Bridge Bundle project. This project implemented a proactive approach to environmental clearances, as well as innovative design and construction elements that greatly minimized impacts to environmental resources, project schedule, and the traveling public during construction. The Region 2 Bridge Bundle consists of the replacement of 17 structures bundled together as a single design build project. These structures are rural bridges on essential highway corridors. The design build team's approach for each structure was focused on reducing environmental impacts to natural resources and traffic impacts to the traveling public, With those goals in mind, the project team was able to design and construct 17 structures in 27 months through innovative construction methods, as well as proactive and coordinated consultation for multiple environmental resources. The project underscores the importance of engineering and environmental stewardship, taking advantage of innovative design by shifting alignments to avoid wetlands and wildlife habitat, using alternate construction material methods to reduce construction footprints and durations, and the team was able to minimize impacts to environmental resources and the traveling public again. Environmental resources that were impacted as a result of the project were reduced or mitigated during design, and in some cases were reduced further once structures were in construction. The project team partnerships and coordination drove the project schedule, ultimately delivering the project 6 months ahead of schedule. Through innovative design and construction, the project also finished $300,000 under contract and saved approximately $2 million in contingency funds that were returned to the bridge enterprise for future bridge proposals. By using innovative contracting and building true partnerships, this project team exemplified environmental stewardship while also saving money and time. The project areas were challenging due to geography as well as the importance of the roadway corridors. It is truly impressive that it was completed in only 27 months. This is a testament to experience, coordination, collaboration, and good environmental stewards. Here accepting the award is Shannon Ford, Region 2.
This is just proof that Region 2 is full of rock stars, just so you know. It's a competition. Thank you for recognizing this amazing effort. This took a lot of people and a lot of support from our consultants and our construction contractors as well. I'd like to recognize RSNH and Capital TZAC Joint Venture and Wilson and Pinion and ERO, as well as all of the Region 2 and particularly EPB staff as well from headquarters. Becky Pierce and Jeff Peterson and Greg Wolf were critical in providing some of the environmental stewardship and forethought that went into replacing 17 structures in this amount of time. So thank you again, and I'm happy to have been a part of this project, and I accept the award for everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, commissioners.
All right, thank you, Troy, and thank you to all of the award winners. We always get those in advance and give us a chance to go ahead and look over the work that's been done and that's being recognized, and it's incredible work. And so congratulations to all of you. Very, very cool. So, all right. I don't believe we have any other matters for the TC today.
Just
Oh,
wanna
we do.
talk about our
We'll do that now. Go. I think that what we're doing is we are losing 3 of our transportation commissioners. And so what we'd like to do is to do a special recognition of Vice Chair Adams. The other 2 commissioners, we will recognize when they are here present, or we will deliver their hat to them at the time in the future. Herman, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks. So we have 2 things for each of our departing commissioners, and it's kind of a tradition to particularly the pictures, which are still at the framers, but we would have only been able to deliver Commissioner Adams's. But we're going to show you each of the pictures. These will be in a nice matted frame for each of you. Commissioner Adams has a picture of the GAP project. Commissioner Stewart has a picture of Floyd Hill, and Commissioner Garcia, I believe, has a picture of a wildlife overpass on US 160. And that's one I think I might get a copy and get framed because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And we do have a hard hat for each of our departing commissioners. Most of our EMT and a few other folks have signed the hard hat, so we want to give that to you. And thank you. Hey. And then we'll get the rest delivered to our commissioners.
Vice Chair Adams, I don't know if you want to say anything else, but it has been a pleasure. I'm hoping that you're here next month and we can talk a little bit more then, but it has been an absolute pleasure.
Well, I will be here next month, but I'm assuming next month could be virtual. So that's the only reason I wanted to make my comments earlier because I knew we would all be together. But I will definitely serve out the entirety of the remainder of my term. And I do intend to be on the town hall too, and other things that we can do before we call it quits.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate all you do, and I'm not surprised that you will serve to the last second for us, so we appreciate that. All right, that takes us into the next item, which is the Bridge and Tunnel Enterprise Board of Directors meeting. We'll go ahead and call that meeting to order. Again, this is May 15, 2025. Time's about 10:29 a.m. in the morning. And we'll call it to order. Roll call. If we could have a roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Yep. Director Holguin,
Here.
Director Cook,
Here.
Director Stewart.
Online?
Yep.
Here.
There she is. Director Gutierrez,
Here.
Director Ritter. Yep. Director Bowman,
I think she's excused.
Director Garcia, I think also.
Absent excused.
Director Parsons,
Here.
Director Masters.
Here.
Vice Chair Adams,
Here.
and Chair Hart.
Here. All right, thank you. That takes us to the next item, which is public comments. Do we have any public comments this morning? None? Okay. Okay. Takes us on to the next item. Acting on the consent agenda, proposed resolution number BTE 1 to approve the regular meeting minutes of March 2025. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve.
Is there a second? It's been moved in second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you. Next item is discuss and act on proposed resolution BTE number 2, which is the second budget amendment to FY 24-25. Patrick.
Thank you, Chair. I'm here to request your approval of the second amendment to the fiscal year 2025 Bridge and Tunnel Enterprise budget. This amendment reallocates $1,932,023 from the BTE Safety Critical and Asset Management Project line item. This is line 39 on the amended budget allocation plan attached to your packet to the 2025A Infrastructure Revenue Bond debt service line item, which is line 35 on the amended budget allocation plan. This is for the first debt service payment for the recently issued Series 2025A bonds and the required accounting treatments associated with the second debt service payment and bond premium that we discussed yesterday. So while this action does result in a reduction to the capital construction program in isolation, as we discussed, the BTE capital construction program did increase by nearly $223 million this year as a result of this transaction. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. If there are none, I request you consider a motion to approve.
All right, are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, I entertain a motion. Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Move second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Patrick. Next item is discuss and act on proposed resolution BTE number 3, which is the 7th budget supplement for fiscal year 2024-25. Patrick.
Thank you again, Chair. I'm here to request your approval of the 7th supplement to the fiscal year 2025 Bridge and Tunnel Enterprise budget. Our supplement this month has 2 components. So we just talked about the debt service for the recent bond transaction, and the first action here is related to the bond proceeds. So there's administrative addition of $1,657,250.23 to the administration and operations line of the Bridge and Tunnel Enterprise budget. This is line 20 on the attachment to your packet. This reflects the final proceeds for the recent bond transaction. This budget will be used to pay cost of issuance expenses for the transaction. The remaining $225 million in proceeds was added to the capital construction program last month via resolution and has been budgeted to the Floyd Hill construction package 4. The second request is from Region 1 for $3,308,866 in faster bridge safety surcharge to establish the construction phase for the I-70 East Bridge Repair Project in Arapahoe County, west of Deer Trail. As we discussed yesterday, this project is a collaboration between Region 1, Bridge and Tunnel Enterprise, and the Fuels Impact Enterprise. We're pulling funds to repair 4 total bridges. The 2 bridges that could be repaired using BTE funds are both in the top tier of our most recent bridge prioritization plan. As we discussed yesterday, this scope can be reasonably expected to extend the service lives of these bridges an additional 20 to 30 years, curtailing the need for a more capital-intensive bridge replacement project. Happy to answer any questions you may have. If there are none, I request you consider a motion to approve.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Are there any questions or comments on this matter? Okay, hearing none. Go ahead and entertain a motion to approve. Got a motion? Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes unanimously, Patrick. Thank you. All right, that takes us to the end of our agenda for the Bridge and Tunnel Enterprise. We'll go ahead and adjourn. And now we will open the Fuel Impact Enterprise Board of Directors meeting. Again, this is Thursday, May 15. Time now is about 10:35 a.m. We've called it to order. Mr. Secretary, if you could take care of our roll.
Director Holguin,
Here.
Director Cook,
Here.
Director Stewart,
Here.
Director Gutierrez,
Here.
Director Ritter,
Yep.
Director Bowman,
Absent excused.
Director Garcia,
Absent excused.
Director Parsons,
Here.
Director Masters,
Here.
Vice Chair Adams,
Here.
Chair Hart.
Here. All right, thank you. Next item is public comments. I don't believe we have any public comments this morning. Okay, that takes us to the next item, which is to act on the consent agenda. We have one item on the consent agenda, proposed resolution FIE number 1 to approve the regular meeting minutes of March 2025. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Cook. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And moved in second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, that passes. Thank you. Next item is discuss and act on proposed resolution FE, I think it's FIE, number 2, the second budget supplement to fiscal year 2024, 2025. And I've got Craig listed. I don't know if he's present.
Eric, it doesn't look like Craig is on.
I think we cruised through.
We are a little ahead of
We're messing
schedule.
everybody's timing up.
We are way early. I think we're going to have to advise staff. We like to move quickly in these meetings. Do we have an alternative if we can't find Craig to go ahead and help us with this presentation? I don't see anyone running up to the mic.
Eric, is that something you can help with?
We had a pretty good presentation yesterday from him.
Okay, well, and then the next item we have is discuss and act on proposed resolution. Well, that, yeah, number 3, adoption of PD 703, Eric Sabina. Eric, we could go ahead and move to that one first and then see if we can round up somebody if you could handle that one.
I can speak to these. So the budget supplement is to add, I don't have it pulled up, but I think it was the $4 million or so for pavement using the Fuel Impact Enterprise Funds. Oh, thank you for that. It's had to find that's the cash balance. So that's a different one. But that's to expend some of the Fuel Impact Enterprise for poor pavement. That should help. That's what you got the workshop on yesterday. And then also we're requesting that you adopt PD 703 as the Fuel Impact Enterprise policy directive for how we would bring things forward to the group.
Herman, thank you for filling in on that. Yeah, that's relates us back to the conversation that we had yesterday. And here's Craig.
Craig is on his way. I'll be here shortly, if that would be helpful.
Do we want to wait? I think that we've actually got enough information to move if everybody's okay with moving, so. You okay? Folks, why don't we go ahead and move? The first item that we have before us is discuss and act on proposed resolution FIE number 2, which is the second budget supplement for FY 24-25. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns about that after what we heard yesterday?
Sure.
Go ahead, Commissioner. Oh, come on in, Craig.
Hi, Craig. Just to note, there's a typo in the fourth whereas, or the last whereas, excuse me. That looks like an autocorrect.
Oh. Go ahead. Where we are is we're under discuss and act on proposed resolution FIE number 2, the second budget supplement to fiscal year 24-25. So go ahead.
Perfect. Yeah. So yesterday we came and talked about two different items. We had two projects in the first piece that we were talking about. Supporting the project for a $7 million request in Region 1 for the maintenance and repair for 2 structures on I-70. And then we had a second project that is giving $2.5 million to both Regions 2 and 3 to do paving projects this summer and fall. And then the second aspect was a recommendation for the Fuels Impact Enterprise Board to adopt PD 703 as our fiscal rules. And those are the two. So if there's any questions or any further discussion, happy to answer any questions.
All right, thanks, Craig. I think we'll go ahead and take the first one first, and then we'll do them separately. Any further discussion on FIE 2, which is the second budget supplement? If not, I'd entertain a motion. There's a motion to approve, and is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
that's approved and passed. Thank you. That takes us to the next item, which is discuss and act on proposed resolution number F. It's FI. I think that's FIE, isn't it, Herman? It says F.
Yes, it is FIE.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're getting it right. FIE number 3, which is adoption of PD 703, and the FIE board's fiscal, which is the fiscal policy for the FIE board for our policy and procedures. We had that explained to us yesterday in the work session. Is there any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion. It got a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All right. Is there any opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you. I believe that concludes our business today. Thank you, Craig. We are done, folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My internet blinked out and then wouldn't come back on, and that's where I've been watching. After that, thinking, oh my God, it never failed.